Everybody, as it from Quality Group. So this morning, I'm just going to talk quickly about an experience we've just had with HMO licensing and getting a new license for the next 5 years. The process for the last 15 years have been changing all the time, and nowadays HMOs are, in my view now, and we've got 150 people in HMOs. I think it's a lot of work for not a lot of return that we used to have, and let me explain why. So what you're having now is over the last kind of three to 4 years, you've had a doubling of mortgage rates. So we were used to pay 3.75 on average back in 2020s and stuff like that, when interest was low. Now the same properties we're now paying from 3.75 interest per year, we're now around 5.75. So we're there or thereabouts, around 2 to 2.5% uplift on the price. A second calamity that's happened is that utility prices were tripled in the last 5 years. So we all know, we have houses, we pay for electricity, gas, and we know that it's gone. The average UK prices back in about 6-7 years ago used to be £1,200 for the year. Now that same £1,200 for the average house, not HMO, the average house is now around £3,000, £2,500 to £3,000, depending on consumption. So you've got the same issue with HMOs, where we are paying for the bills, and those bills now have trebled on average. So, and the third element that's happened, that's caused calamity in the HMO market, in our opinion, and we are also looking at maybe phasing out. I mean, I've not bought any HMOs since 2020, and we've bought hundreds of properties. So the third element that's also happened, that's brought the margins down on HMOs, is as follows. So you have tenants price increases, have rent have gone up, but nowhere near doubling, let alone tripling of the prices. So you have a dual effect. You have costs going up massively in the mortgage market as well as the utility markets, but the prices of rents have actually increased maybe 5, maybe 10%, if you like, across our portfolio. And we've got HMOs all around the UK, specifically, quite well, not around the UK, southeast of England, so London and the southeast of England. So you'd assume that the rents would be fairly good there, and actually rising in line with what other prices have risen, which they have. But when you have mortgage doubling, utilities tripling in the last 5 years, you just can't, it just doesn't actually, you can't obviously double your rents. So you have margins massively reduced. So let me give some numbers. So on average, we used to, let's say for the average HMO, 5-bed HMO, charging around £500 a month, we used to clear before tax around £1,000 on that unit of profit before tax. So that's paying mortgage, council tax, gas, electricity, water, broadband, cleaner, any kind of maintenance and repair. On average, we were making about £1,000 per house. That same property now, we're lucky, and bearing in mind our utilization rate, we've got property managers are very good. We rent our rooms 95% of the year, so 50 week out of 52 weeks, so very good at making the most out of our assets. And we are now only clearing somewhere around £650 to £700 per month. So that £1,000 has drastically dropped to around £650 to £700 per month, so 30% down straight away. So we have it always. So margins have gone down, costs have gone up, rent haven't gone up. The regulation now, this is about regulation. So we're now applying for HMO licensing again on one of ours, well, all of ours as they go along. Every 5 years, you have to, if you're new to HMO or thinking about it, you have to have a HMO license. Where the council comes from, there's a department in the council, HMO licensing or private rental sector part of the council you apply to. You pay somewhere around £1,000. Some places, some council charge £1,500 for you to get a license. Once you get to get the license, they come out and actually inspect your property. In our case, they were re-inspecting our property we've had for 5 years. So this is a 7-bedroom house with an ensuite in the loft upstairs, and that loft is rented to a couple. So you have 6 lettable rooms, because one of them is really small. 6 lettable rooms. One of them is a master bedroom in the loft with an ensuite in it, for a couple. So we have basically 5 and 6 people in it. And the council came out and inspected it. Our properties are pretty top notch. We had a couple of things to adjust, like, I think there was a laminate broken. They said they've changed that with a dent in it or something like that. So we changed that, and then we got a licensing officer that came around, ticked it off. Yesterday we got the draft license, which you get before you approve it, and they changed it from 6 people in the house to 5 people in the house. And we then said, hang on a minute, so nothing has changed here, so why have you now issued a draft license for 1 less person? Are you now asking us to get rid of people based on what's already there? We normally have 6 people. And this morning, to my surprise, clearly it's I'm not sure who works in these places, because they've obviously made a mistake. Clearly this morning they'd sent a draft license updating it from 5 people in the house to 6 people in the house. So 2 big messages here. One, regulation is annoying. It has to be done. Look, there's regulation that has to happen, because there are some unscrupulous people around that shouldn't be landlords, that shouldn't be doing the job that they do. But on top of that, you have over-regulation, and I think in this case here, we're getting over-regulated as an industry. Licensing, yes, fine. They come in, they get a clipboard, they say, oh yeah, this house fine, that house is not fine. They check the smoke alarms. I mean, you'd argue 1,500 quid, 1,000 baht to 1,500 quid per landlord per house every 5 years. I think is quite a lot of money, especially when you think, the margin that we've been talking about now is not as high as it has been. So I think right now, if you are renewing your license, be aware of the extra regulations. They are putting even more emphasis on what they approve, what they don't approve, but also they get it wrong. So please do not be afraid to go back and say, hang on a minute, I think you've made a mistake here. Can you explain why this is reduced from 6 to 5, and challenge them, because quite frankly, in my opinion, a lot of them don't really know what they're doing. They've just been given the job. They're also trying to muddle through regulation that's been written by Parliament, and they make very, very bizarre interpretation from one council to the next. So would I get into HMOs again? Right now, absolutely not. And I think some of the things that are happening at the moment, people are buying cheap houses and then being told, by the builders, that they can make them into 6-bedroom ensuite, and it's going to be an amazing house. But quite frankly, you will spend £100,000 on whatever house you're buying to put 6-bedroom ensuite, which then you're going to struggle to rent at the rate that you should be renting it, so that you can actually recoup that £100,000 of investment. Most people forget that £100,000 that they've paid out to the builders is an investment. That's money that they could have bought something else that produces money. But I would be very cautious about what you do with HMOs in this period, because of all the reasons I've given you, let alone that you have to have obviously smoke alarm checks every week. You have to have fire door checks, gas cert, EICRs, EPCs, obviously the HMO licensing itself, as well as making sure that your occupancy is there. So really, if you're not operating at 80-90%, you're not really going to make much money. And if you think you're going to make £600, £700 per month, that is not a lot of money to justify the amount of work and effort and regulation you have to jump through. Is there other options to go out for? Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that I've been doing and talking about, and I'm probably one of 2 people in the country that does it on the scale that we do it, is title splitting, buying blocks of flats that are already income producing and making money, and we buy the income. We take through a process that I teach, we take all the money back out. So if you buy, and with a £200,000, £100,000 deposit, you take that money back out and you go again and you buy the next block. So I would say have a look at other alternative rather than HMOs in 2025, because quite frankly, it just doesn't stack as a strategy. My name is Azid I'm from Quiddity Group. Have a look at our website, quidditygroup.co.uk, or you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, and I post a lot about how property market is shaping up. Thanks for watching.